Hi friends, my name is Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my favorite by genre of 2022 reads. I'm going to be doing short little sentences describing these books. So this is not a review, this is just giving my general impressions that are first and foremost in my mind about these books. And then you can go look a little bit more information up about them if something I say sparks an interest in them. So first I'm going to be talking about my favorite adult fantasy of the year. The first one is The Bird and the Sword by Amy Harmon, and I have my friend Dia from Novel Idea to thank because we buddy read this together and she suggested it. My favorite about this was shippable romance, interesting magical element, and the side characters were very intriguing. The next one that I loved, I also have a friend to thank for buddy reading this with me, and that's Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers, the Farseers Trilogy. I'm considering them, all three of them, as one, and I loved the main character Fitz. He really had my heart. Loved that it was not complicated to keep up with the magic going on in the story, and that we have a progression from the teenage years through the middle 20s at least in the story, so we get to see the character really evolve and change as he goes on. The next one is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Love the complex magical system. I know it's complex, love that about it. All right, YA fantasy. My favorite YA fantasies were starting with the Scorpio races, introduced me by Courtney Reads. That's by Maggie Stievater, and she reads this every year. It's her favorite novel, and I'm so glad she introduced it to me because I loved magical horses, first of all, and the main romance of the story was extremely shippable. The other one that I loved that was YA fantasy this year was this Woven Kingdom by Tahirah Mafi. I loved that the character's face was always hidden, so even though she's beautiful, that wasn't necessarily what people noticed first about her, and I thought that her power was pretty darn cool. The next one that I have on the list is middle grade fantasy. First, I'm considering all four books as one, the Wingfeather Saga by Andrew Peterson. This book made me love the family so much, and it was full of so much hope. The fantasy elements were excellent too. The other middle grade that I read that I just loved was Amari and the Night Brothers, and this is by B.B. Alston. I love that Amari is a very strong girl with a good moral compass, and I love that it deals responsibly with ideas of racism and discrimination in general. All right, let's go with my favorite classics. I loved reading for the first time The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Bronte. Love the letter writing format of the story and how in that way you get a peek into the characters. I love the mysterious vibe of it, even though it's not a mystery. I also loved The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and this book just shines with the concept that you need to pay more attention to the development of your soul than of your pretty face. I love the fantastical element in the story too, although I would not consider this story at all a fantasy. It does have a fantastical element. All right, the last classic that I'm going to mention is definitely a new favorite, and this is The Blue Castle, which is by Ellen Montgomery. And you're like, you only read this in 2022? Yes. I had never read The Blue Castle before, which is much more of an adult story. The romance really just touched my heart. I loved this girl that had always been trodden down by her family, standing up and living her life to the fullest. All right, we're gonna go with historical fiction next, and I am going to be mentioning The Stationery Shop. And this is a beautiful, beautiful story about in the 1950s, there is a couple in Tehran, and then they are meeting in this stationery shop, such a beautiful, idealistic place to meet when there is just so much drama going on in their world of Iran, and they have things really get in between their relationship, and then we're brought back to more present times and what has happened to both of them. All right. The historical fiction that's a middle grade that I absolutely loved this year was A Place to Hang the Moon. And this was about children that are billeted in the countryside in England during World War II. And oh my goodness, the found family feel and the heartwarming feeling that I got at the end of the book has made me just love this one for forever. All right. Mystery. There was only one in just the straight mystery category that really stood out to me this year, and that is The Thursday Murder Club, and that is by Richard Osman. And I loved, this is about some octogenarians who live in a retirement community and come together to solve old murders, and then a real murder gets dropped on them and they are trying to solve it. They're kind of working against the police a little bit. They're trying to help them out, but the police don't want them to be helping them out. And I just think that they are the cutest characters. I can't wait to read the next book in this series. I'm putting this in a different category because I think they can't have a different feel to them. And I'm going to say my favorite cozy mystery of the year was Apple Cider Slang. And this was by Julie Ann Lindsay. And I just felt like for a cozy mystery, this was so real. You can really feel the realness of the character's emotion. It deals with elements of grief, and I just love apple cider. So it made me happy to think about apple cider while I was reading it. So we are going to talk about dystopian and sci-fi now. I'm putting them in the same category because the one sci-fi book that I put on here has a dystopian feel as well. And that would be Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I liked feeling the struggle of the main character and just being so interested in what was going to happen to him. There is action. There is a little bit too much violence for me, but I really just felt like the character came to life, the main character. And I'm looking forward to finding out what happens in the other books. The straight dystopian that I read was Station 11, and I loved the interconnectedness of the characters from the past to what is supposed to be the current times. There was a virus that has really taken out a lot of the population. You might want to know this in COVID times before you read it. I didn't. I just knew it was dystopian, and I was feeling a little stressed, but I think it is a beautiful book and just not really completely about the virus, but about the characters and the interconnectedness. I love that there was a Shakespeare company, even with the world falling down around them. They were doing Shakespeare. All right. Well, friends, that is about it for today. And thank you for watching this. I hope this gives you some ideas for books you might want to read in 2023. And as always, read a lot. Bye-bye.